break that down in this video because I think that's a really good question. And it even got me asking myself some questions as far as what does that mean, right? And so on one hand, that means that when you encounter opposition and you're on a path and it seems like you keep encountering opposition, on one hand that means to take a step back, analyze where you are, why you're encountering opposition, what are your alternatives, and then allowing your progression to take place in a natural way instead of forcing your way through that opposition. On another hand, I mean that if you allow it to, the universe will often provide you with solutions and provide you with what's necessary for progression and growth. For instance, my subscriber that asked that question gave me an opportunity to do some reflection, some self-reflection, and that in turn provided the universe an opportunity to allow me to grow that much more by diving a little deeper on the concept of, well, what does letting go mean? What is the universe trying to tell me when I channel the concept of letting go, of releasing, right? And that can break down into a lot of different things. So I'm going to try to do that in this video. So first off, let's say that you're on a path and you determine that you have a goal set for the end of that path, right? What you may start to notice is that on that journey, certain twists and turns that you take will have more opposition than others, meaning that this and that will get in the way. So imagine that you're on a path, you take a turn that you think will be more beneficial, okay? So again, we're still sticking with the concept of spirit guiding you and spirit giving you the opportunities to make your own decisions, but then also giving you those nudges along the way and giving you those checks along the way so that you can address those decisions in new perspective, and potentially change your direction to go a direction that spirit may lead you to ease your journey, right? And that in of itself that's essentially what letting go means. So you're on a path and these stones are in your way. They're giant boulders in your way. And you begin to push one out the way. You're pushing and you're pulling, right? You're getting these things out your way because you know that your goal is on the other side and this is the path you've chosen. Well, after a while, you start to realize that, man, every time I push or I pull one of these boulders out of the way, it's as if another one falls into place. In my opinion, that is the universe, that is spirit, attempting to tell you that perhaps you are not looking at all of your options. You're not thinking about the alternatives. And instead, you've chosen the path of the most resistance. Where instead you could take that as an opportunity. So you say, okay, an additional boulder's fallen into place. Let me step back, right? This is where you release. This is where you let go. You no longer push. You no longer pull. You let go. That means you let go of the opposition. You let go of your ego and your mindset that tells you that you have to have control of the situation and that you are absolutely in the right and that this is the path no matter what happens. You release all of that. In releasing that, you immediately open yourself up to other options, to other opportunities. Immediately. Because now you've put yourself in a different perspective. Right? So instead of being behind the boulder or in front of the boulder, pushing and pulling, now you're standing aside and you're looking around and you say, okay, universe, provide some guidance for me. What else can I do? Right? So then you can start to notice the trees. You can start to notice the air. You can start to notice the other pathways. So you can take into account how beautiful the situation is that you're in currently, instead of being frustrated with it because you keep trying to make it work and it's not working. You can sit there and you can kind of embrace the beauty of what's around you, the journey that you've completed up to this point, how far you've come, right? Embrace the beauty in yourself. Embrace the beauty in the situation that you've developed, and then look around and you'll start to notice other pathways, other ways that you can go, other options, alternatives, right? You may even notice, depending on the situation, that you're good where you're at. But you couldn't do that until you let go of the outcome, until you let go of that need to push and pull and fight and carve and chisel away, where there just simply a way was not manifesting for you. You gave yourself the opportunity to see something new, right? And so that goes to the other way that letting go can manifest in your life. It's because sometimes we don't realize that we're pushing and we're pulling those boulders. We don't realize that these things are in the way, and we are constantly fighting to take a path that may not be for us. So letting go can happen in the sense of that you simply have an open mind and you recognize that there is guidance out here for you, that the universe is going to provide you. Whether that be through a person, a new opportunity, a sign, a message, right? So once you have an open mind and you recognize that you don't always have all the answers, you have, in a way, let go, right? So the concept is simply releasing, and you can release on so many different levels. You can release in the physical and say, okay, I'm no longer going to push and pull. You can release spiritually and say, okay, I am no longer going to assume that I have all the answers. Right? I'm going to allow spirit to guide me, to allow the universe to guide me. Right? That's on a mental level and a spiritual level. Now, when you do that, when you let go mentally, and you remove your ego from the you remove your ego, then you can open yourself up to new perspective. So the universe may send someone on your path that you weren't necessarily, that may not have fit your idea or your concept of this is the way, this is the path I'm going to take. And when they send that person on your path, normally you may have been standoffish or rejected that opportunity to meet that person or to link up or to work with that person, right? But instead, when you've released and you have an open mind and you understand that the universe is going to send things to you that make you step out of your comfort zone and send things to you that you may normally not really understand, but now this is an opportunity to gain understanding and to have additional progression in your journey, right? This may be that missing link that's going to get you to the other side without you having to push and pull all those boulders. Once you've released mentally, the universe can send that person to you. Then you meet this person, and it turns out that they have some knowledge you didn't have before, and it's that little bit of knowledge that allows you to now go down a different path, still on the way to the same goal, but without all the opposition, right? At times that could even lead you down a different path toward a different goal, but you have to be careful there, and that's where you have to check and manage your desires, right? And I mean, essentially, that's what life is about. Life is a lot of releasing those desires, letting go of our desires, because we are constantly on a journey to identify desire, pursue it, obtain it, recognize whatever the message is in that accomplishment or in that desire, and then release it. That is essentially what the journey is all about, right? Some journeys will be just to show you how consumed you are with a certain thing, only to have you get it, to understand it was never meant for you, only to have you understand you need to release it, so that then you can pursue what's meant for you. That's why it's good to release that expectation, because with once you release that expectation, you understand that journey, and you understand, oh, okay, this is coming to my life for a season, for a temporary experience. And then when that experience happens, you don't clutch on to the moment. You're not like, oh, I can't let go, I can't advance to the next thing because this has to be for me. This is my desire, this is what I wanted, this must be for me. Why is it now the universe taking it from me, right? Why isn't this marriage working? Why isn't this job working? Right? Because it was meant for you to have that season so that you could learn to release these things, so that you could learn to let go, so that you could learn that there was something within you forcing you or pushing you toward that desire that you hadn't addressed. And now, if you are willing to, you can come to the understanding that you were brought to this point to have that experience so that you could realize it's not meant for you and let go without putting yourself through more trauma and pain and suffering. Right? Let me see if I can dive deeper on this concept a little bit. So letting go and releasing. Sometimes I think we have to learn on a very basic level what that means, right? I just kind of walked into some understanding. My mind just kind of wandered into some understanding of letting go in the moment. Finding release in the moment, right? So just taking that breath. Taking that moment to just relax, become grounded, accept the present for what it is. Because a lot of times we're pushing and we're pulling constantly. We don't have a moment. We don't take a moment in the present. We're constantly pushing and pulling. I need to do this. I have to accomplish that. I'm unhappy with this. Where is that at? Why am I not getting what I want? What do I want? When should I go get it? How? All of these things constantly, right? And I think if we take a moment, we can recognize that a lot of that additional stress we put on ourselves is unnecessary. Because you always have what you need. Desires are just going to perpetuate more journeys, and then your journeys are ultimately always going to lead you to the point of recognizing that that was merely a desire, and thus there will come a season for release. So it's a good idea to take time to step back and recognize desire. Recognize what's truly important in the moment. Right? Because sometimes you can get so caught up in thinking about the next moment that you never enjoy the current moment, and in doing so, you are constantly creating cycles that you have to live through that keep you stuck. For instance, right now, I need nothing. I have everything I need, right? But I could easily allow this moment to get away from me, and I could come up with, wow, man, it's a really big house. It's a huge house. I think I want that house. Yeah, okay. Alright. Okay, so because I want that house now, well, now I need a better credit score. Alright. Well, because I need a better credit score, I need a credit card. Alright, okay. Yeah. And because I need a credit card, I need to buy something with that credit card. Okay. Cool. Well, what do I buy, right? And then that starts you on a journey of okay, well, I'm going to use this credit card to get the credit I need to buy that big house, right? And it starts so simple. When really, you don't need the house. You just want it, and you weren't careful. You weren't with yourself in the present to recognize that as an unnecessary desire. So now it's become a pursuit. It's become a journey, right? And then you step out, you get the credit card. All right, first step in the journey. Well, here's the trick, and this is how journeys typically play out. Now you have the credit card. In order to build the credit necessary, you're gonna have to use it. So you go and you buy something. Start simple enough, right? But then that thing you buy, let's say you buy a washer and a dryer. Washer and dryer need repairs. They break down on you, right? Okay, well that's fine. I'll just use a credit card to get them repaired. Well, now you've got the debt to pay off. Okay, well I'll work more hours to get the money I need to pay off the credit card. So now you're working more. Then you get sick. Okay, well, I still want that big house. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pay off this credit card, and I'm gonna just go ahead, I'm gonna use the credit card to pay off these medical bills, and I'm gonna go back to work. Right? And that's just how it keeps compounding and compounding. And so eventually you overcome your illness, you pay off your debts, and it's time. You've got the credit, you've got the down payment, you've done everything, right? Now you can buy that big house. So you get the big house. I'm still talking about letting go. You get the big house, and you fill it with all kind of luxurious items. Right? Are you satisfied? That's a real question. Are you satisfied at that point? Right? I want you to think about some of the larger things that you desire, the more extravagant things that you desire, and ask yourself, once you obtain them, will you be satisfied? Will that make all of the darkness in your life disappear? Will you be happy? And for how long will you be happy? For how long will the darkness disappear? But you've got the house now. It's filled with all types of things that make you happy for the time being. But then this breaks down and that breaks down. You need a water heater. You have to replace the furnace. You need a new stove. Right? Somebody wants a new deck, new patio. You know? You get the dog. You gotta take care of the dog. You have the kids. You gotta raise the kids. They gotta go to college. It just goes on and on and on. Because, and this comes back to that being in the moment and letting go of that desire. So have we gone all the way? Let's go all the way back to the initial moment where you see the big house, you want the big house. Had you taken that moment to question that desires, okay, let me be present. I'm here in the present. That is not a need, that is a desire. My mind isn't idle, and because my mind isn't idle, it is coming up with other things to try to fill my time with. And I do not recognize in the present how much time is going to be filled with that pursuit. And it's going to take me years and years and years and years, and I will still not be satisfied. I'm going to relinquish it. I'm going to let go. It's not meant for me. Right? And in doing so, you just saved yourself 10 years of headache, 10 years of pain, 10 years of disappointment. Right? There's a movie that I like to watch here now. It's called Big Fish. And I won't spoil the movie, but ultimately it is simply a telling of a man's life. And how in the end of your life, or throughout your life, all you really have are your stories, right? Are the adventures you went on, the experiences you had. And the moral of the story becomes the biggest fish in the river gets that way by never being caught. ponder that for a second, right? What does that mean to you? The biggest fish in the river gets that way by never being caught, right? And I thought about that a few times, like, what does that even mean, right? That they live longer, that they get to eat more, like, I don't know, right? I was thinking about it in like the physical sense. But then I started thinking about it in the sense that we're talking about now, in the spiritual sense, in the concept of release and letting go. And I recognize that what that means is that the biggest fish gets that way by not being attached to outcomes, by not being held down by their desires. They can swim freely from body of water to body of water, right? Where a lot of us, we get tied down by outcomes, by our desire for an outcome, a specific outcome. And in that, we get caught, right? All these little desires in your life are like fishing hooks. Some of them you can get caught on. You hang there for a while, right? Then you get released. You release, you let go. You go back to swimming. Yeah. Some of them you get caught on and that's it. You're pulled out. You're stuck. So again, it just goes back to that thought of recognizing what's a desire and what's a need. And what are you pursuing because of other people's perspectives or because of the system that has indoctrinated you to think that you need that, or that, right? Because we get needs and desires confused. And we'll believe that something that we desire, we will convince ourselves so much so that a desire is a need when it's not. Because realistically, there are 4 needs. There's food, water, shelter, and those can even be debatable at times, right? Depending on how you wish to get those things. But food, water, shelter, let's stick with that. And then experience. So, as long as